The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning, and thanks for joining us here at 5 a.m. on this Monday. I'm Maddie Jansen alongside Alex Fisher. Hopefully everybody survived the weekend, but we still have another day of this just brutal heat before we start to cool down.
Yeah, it was very brutal, that's for sure, especially if you were spending any time outdoors. Bakersfield police confirmed they found an apparent marijuana grow operation following a house fire in southwest Bakersfield. Emergency crews were called to Clover Mountain Street near Shadowstone Street, just south of the Bakersfield DMV at about 7:45 Saturday evening, and you can see firefighters knocking down this blaze at the home, plus several police officers. Video also appears to show a marijuana plant inside, and our photojournalist on scene says he could smell it. It is unclear how much marijuana was in the home, and no arrests have been made. Police say it is an ongoing investigation. It is unknown whether anyone was inside when the fire broke out or if anyone was hurt. Firefighters also knocked down a different fire Saturday just south of Kern Medical in East Bakersfield. Emergency crews were called to Pacific Street near West Drive around 6:45 Saturday night. And you just saw the smoke billowing out of the building, visible from across town. The Bakersfield Fire Department says no one inside the building was hurt. It is unclear what sparked the blaze.
17 News is your local election headquarters. A local community organizer announces her campaign for the Bakersfield City Council Ward 7 seat in November's general election. Manpreet Kaur started the Bakersfield chapter of the Jakara movement, an organization working to empower and educate Kern's Punjabi Sikh community. The group was closely tied to the city's redistricting process this spring, drawing the Ward 7 map eventually adopted by the City Council, changing boundaries to unite the Sikh community in the area. Kaur held her announcement at a ceremony at Stone Creek Park in southwest Bakersfield last night.
Ward 7 is home. I grew up here. I was born and raised in Bakersfield, and I've always been involved in community work. And at the encouragement of community members, I decided to take the step to run for Ward 7.
Chris Parlier currently holds the Ward 7 seat. The general election will take place November 8th.
News from around the state this morning. Former NASCAR driver Robert "Bobby" East was stabbed and killed in Orange County last week, and the suspect was killed 2 days later in an encounter with police. Officers were called to a gas station in Westminster on Wednesday evening and found East with a stab wound to his chest. Officials say East was taken to a trauma center where he died. The suspect in that stabbing, identified as Trent William Mislop, was killed Friday after police tried to arrest him at an apartment complex. Authorities say Mislop was on parole for armed robbery and that an arrest warrant had been issued for him on an unrelated parole violation. The motive for the attack is still unknown.
A bowling alley feud turned deadly in Livermore Saturday, where 3 people were shot. The shooting happened around 6 p.m. at Granada Bowl. Witnesses say there were a lot of children inside at the time, some celebrating a birthday. According to authorities, a fight broke out and someone took out a gun and shot 3 people in the bar area. One man died at the scene. 2 other men were taken to the hospital. The shooter remains on the loose.
5:06 now, and we have an investigation that is still ongoing after an elderly woman was attacked and killed by 2 alligators when she fell into a pond at a Florida golf course. Local residents weigh in about the tragic events. Lacey Lee has the report.
Cutter Coffey, who lives in the Boca Royale neighborhood, says the victim, Rosemary Wiegand, was a sweet lady in her 80s.
She lives a couple doors down from me, and she would bring our trash cans up if we were out of town. Very kind. She always came up. She introduced herself when we moved in.
Sarasota deputies believe she fell into the water and then was attacked by 2 alligators.
In our community, there are a lot of alligators. We see them on the golfing greens. We see them in the ponds.
Well, I mean, it's pretty horrible. It's kind of shocking to think that that could actually happen. We see alligators from time to time, but never thought that anything like that could happen.
Around 8:15 Friday night, law enforcement officers found a body in a small pond on Cayman Boulevard. Inglewood Fire says when they arrived, alligators were dragging the woman.
We came home from dinner last night, and there was people from the Wildlife Commission and police cars and searchlights going on.
Now residents say they are going to be more aware when strolling around in the neighborhood.
I certainly don't want anything like that to happen to any other folks that are here, and they just need to stay away from the lagoons, you know, if they see an alligator.
Right now, a medical examiner is determining the victim's exact cause of death. FWC and the Sarasota County Sheriff's Office are investigating.
Now to the latest on the COVID-19 pandemic here in Kern County, and coronavirus continues to rapidly spread in our area. Public health officials announced 1,658 new positive cases and 4 new deaths in their latest update on Friday. On average, more than 400 people are getting infected with the virus each day here in our area. State data shows we have 89 people in the hospital with more severe symptoms of the virus. 14 more are in the ICU. 2,482 Kern residents have lost their lives to the virus since the beginning of the pandemic. We expect another update from Public Health tomorrow.
Hello, this is Tim Callahan with Clinica Sierra Vista, and we're excited to unveil the Community Health Center of the Future, our comprehensive care center. It's located right across the street from Memorial Hospital. We have every service under one roof, from family medicine, OBGYN care, dental services for adults and children, behavioral health, and much more. So find your way to better care at Clinica Sierra Vista this year at our comprehensive care center. Visit our website, clinicasierravista.org, for the latest on this project. We'll see you soon.
The Kern County Fire Department and local first responders are mourning following the death of a veteran fire captain last week while on duty at the fire station in the town of Fellows. Now you can help his family through this difficult time. Brian Falk, a 47-year-old married father of 2, died unexpectedly Thursday morning. He was only 47. Fire dispatch put out a call just before 7:30 in the morning calling for medical aid for a cardiac arrest. The department did not provide further details except to say that Falk died on duty. Kern County Fire Chief Aaron Duncan was at the coroner's office to salute his friend and comrade as the procession arrived amid flashing lights and stiff salutes.
He and I were in the same academy together. Captain Falk was a great man, great firefighter, a professional. He had a big heart, made people smile every time they were around him.
Falk's family organized a GoFundMe to help with tuition for Falk's sons. You can help find a link on our website, kget.com.
Now to national news, and authorities say 4 people are dead, 2 others are wounded after a shooting at a mall yesterday in Greenwood, Indiana. Police inside the Greenwood Park Mall at the time of the shooting said they heard as many as 20 gunshots in the food court. But authorities say a Good Samaritan witnessed the shooting, took out his gun, and shot and killed the shooter.
That we have what appears to be one shooter, looks to be an adult male. We have not identified him yet. We do not have a motive yet. It appears that he had a rifle with several magazines of ammunition, entered the food court and began shooting.
Greenwood police said the shooter is among the 4 people who were dead.
1 person is dead and 3 others wounded in a shooting during a vigil in Indiana. Police say the vigil was held at a park in Beech Grove Sunday night. 1 person was wounded in serious condition and 2 others were listed stable. The identities and ages of those victims have not been shared by police. The shooting happened just a few hours after the shooting at the nearby Greenwood Park Mall.
A new and disturbing report unveils more details about the mass shooting in Uvalde, Texas. It was written by an investigative committee from the Texas House of Representatives. NBC's Bree Jackson is in Washington this morning with the latest.
The scathing report finds systemic failures by agencies responding to the mass shooting at Robb Elementary School, saying they failed to prioritize saving the lives of innocent victims over their own safety.
Several officers in the hallway or in that building knew or should have known there was dying in that classroom.
The investigating committee found 376 law enforcement were on the scene, most from state and federal agencies. 5 were Uvalde school police officers. Video shows some of them retreating as the lone gunman opened fire.
He's shooting in my room, and they run back this way. I couldn't run. Why should they run?
Heavily armed officers stood in the hallway for more than an hour.
One of my students just had a gunshot to the stomach, and that if he would have been taken care of earlier, he would have made it.
The report also points out failures to intervene despite early warning signs. A year before the massacre, the gunman was known on social media platforms as school shooter because of the threats to other users.
I mean, having stuff like this coming out in bits and pieces, it's only going to make things more frustrating, I think.
We got to get in there.
As frustration over the response grows, so are calls for action.
And that's what's missing from the report is what is the next action about holding people accountable?
The report providing the most complete account so far of one of the worst school shootings in U.S. history. In Washington, Bree Jackson for NBC News.
Making news around the world, Israel's prime minister spoke about his meeting with President Joe Biden that took place last week. The Israeli leader said he reiterated to the president he opposes the nuclear deal made between the world powers and Iran, saying Israel, quote, reserves full freedom of action, political and operational, facing the Iranian nuclear program. The prime minister also went on to confirm Israel fired multiple airstrikes at Hamas-held sites in the Gaza Strip.
Police have arrested 2 suspects in connection to the deadly 7-Eleven crime spree. The series of 7-Eleven robberies happened on July 11th, or 7-Eleven. 2 people were killed and 3 others wounded in the series of robberies that spanned over 100 miles across several Southern California counties. 20-year-old Malik Pat and 44-year-old Jason Payne were detained Saturday in Los Angeles after an extensive 4-day manhunt involving several Southern California law enforcement agencies. Pat and Payne are also being investigated for other violent armed robberies and a murder in Los Angeles. Whoa.
Yeah, a shocking scene caught on security video of a speeding car slamming into a home in Sylmar, doing some serious damage as it plowed through the back fence and patio. It's not just a fence, it's a block wall. This happened just after 6:30 last night. Somehow first responders were able to pull the trapped driver from the wreckage unharmed.
Wow.
No one inside the home was hurt either. Fire crews worked to make the back patio structurally sound, and officials are still looking at the moments leading up to this crash.
And you can see in that video that looks like the driver was placed in handcuffs during the investigation. But incredible video there.
Oh, so scary.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.